pedals. This is my rig rundown for 2020. I built a bigger board this year to accommodate a few more pedals, so I thought I'd make another rig rundown. So yeah, I'll just, I guess, go through the board, play some stuff, and then after I'm going to make a loop song on my loop pedal and then show you how I use everything like together and in like a song context. So I'm playing a Fender thinline Jaguar through a Princeton reverb, and this is what the clean tone sounds like. So yeah, this is the pedal board, and the one thing that is weird is the signal chain kind of snakes around oddly. So I have the Shigeharu is first, then it goes into the reverberation machine, which goes into the Badstone, and then the blues driver, followed by the accountant, the tuner, the DD6, the C machine, RE20, and then finally the Ghost Echo at the end. So yeah, I've just been experimenting with signal chain, and I've landed on this one, and it kind of allows me to use each pedal as like a multi-purpose kind of deal, depending on like which things it's stacked with. So yeah, that's been kind of cool to experiment with. But anyways, first in the chain is the Shigeharu, which is my favorite fuzz pedal right now. I've been using it a whole ton. It's probably like the most used pedal on my board this last year, and it's like a tone bendery kind of muff sound, I guess. It goes pretty high gain, but I have it dialed in for a lowish medium kind of fuzzy overdrive sound right now, which sounds super great with the low output single coils on my guitar. So this is how I have it dialed in. And then it also sounds great if I turn the strangle switch on my guitar. I get even less gain out of it, and I kind of like to use it for like chording because it's so articulate. So here's something like that. Sometimes I stack it with the blues driver for like a little bit more low end clarity, I guess, and it kind of adds some compression and re-adds some mids back into the signal because I have the mids kind of dialed semi-scooped, I guess, to not be too nasally. But yeah, when I turn the blues driver on, it really like boosts the signal. It makes it sound nice and full. And the Shigeharu has also got this upper octave fuzz blend here. So sometimes I turn that up when I want like some more sizzle out of it. I actually leave it just like a little bit on most of the time. I have it off right now just to show you, but I'll turn it up and show you what the difference is. Yeah, so I've just been really loving the Shigeharu and using like the fuzz sound for a like a gritty lo-fi overdrive deal. So yeah, that's been an awesome pedal, a new favorite definitely. So after the Shigeharu, I have the Reverberation machine by Death by Audio, which is one of my favorite pedals, but I haven't had it on the board in a while. But since I built the bigger one, there was space enough to put it. So the way I've been using it is on the bright mode because my other main reverb, the Ghost Echo, can be kind of dark. So it's nice to have like the contrast with the bright and the dark, and it adds some gritty overdrive. It doesn't sound like super pleasant, but like it's like it's gritty. It's a gritty overdrive. And I leave the reverb kind of low because I like to stack it with the blues driver. So a little bit of reverb goes a long way when you're running it into overdrive. So yeah, here's my setting. And I like to use it a lot with the trem arm on my guitar for like a lo-fi surfy sound. And then, like I said, I'll stack it with the blues driver and also other stuff. So here's it with the blues driver on. And I'll use that for like a rhythm sound every so often. I think it sounds kind of cool and like it has like a bit of that vintage amp flavor. So that's been fun. And then I also stack it with the accountant, which comes a little bit after it in the chain. So it's compressing the reverb, which I think sounds pretty cool to make it a little more like present as it decays. So here's something with that. So that's, yeah, just like a really cool pedal, and it's one of those that kind of like open up the world to experimenting with signal chain and stuff, since I have it kind of in an odd spot. It also sounds really great with the Shigeharu when I have like a big fuzzy lead sound going. It makes it just sound like absolutely huge, and it does boost the volume a significant amount. So it's cool as like a lead boost and stuff. So after the reverberation machine comes the Badstone, which is one of the reasons why I decided to make a bigger board to accommodate the phaser again, because it's one of my favorite effects to play with. It adds a lot of texture, and I really like running it after fuzz and stuff. So yeah, I love the Badstone because it's so syrupy and thick. I know those are buzzwords, but it has like a cool sound that sounds a little richer than other phasers I've tried. So here's how I have it set up right now. Yeah, so I have it set kind of subtly, but one thing I do like to do with it is combine it with delay, since the repeats will take the phase sweep here and then repeat it, and then if I keep playing, it keeps sweeping the phase, obviously, and then it creates like a cool like distinction between the repeats and the dry signal, or the signal that runs through the Badstone. I don't know if that made sense, but anyways, it's also got a manual mode where you can freeze the sweep anywhere you want, which I think is really cool running with like fuzz pedals and reverbs, like especially the reverb that comes before it. So I like to combine it with some other stuff, and I'll show you what that sounds like. I'll turn it off, show you what the bass sound is, and then I'll turn it back on. Yeah, so it just has like a cool filtering effect that's kind of nice to use to change up the sound every so often. Next up in the chain after the Badstone is the Boss Blues Driver, which is my favorite overdrive pedal ever, I think, and I've talked about it a bunch before, and I use it on pretty much everything, so everyone knows kind of how it sounds by now. I think a lot of people use the Blues Driver, but it's popular for a reason, and I just really like it. So here's how I have it set it up. It's kind of like a medium gain sound, and I like to stack it a lot with the compressor after it. I just think it like has a cool, chunky but like subdued kind of sound. So here's what that sounds like. It's perfect for like the Radiohead sound. And then I also like to use it just as like a chunky like chord like distortion deal. So let me just tune up here. Alright, and yeah, here's it with like some distortion-y chords. Yeah, and that's all at the same setting, and it's just so dynamic and good sounding. So next up in the chain, I have the Fairfield Accountant compressor, which is just an awesome pedal. It adds compression and then some grit too, which is why I really like it. It kind of sounds like an amp turned up pretty loud. So here's something without it first, and then I'll turn it on and show you the difference. Yeah, so it just adds like a cool touch, and it's definitely one of my favorite pedals to use. But like I said earlier, I do like to combine it with the Blues Driver, and I think it sounds pretty cool after an overdrive, or even after the fuzz and the reverb too, because it kind of flattens out and compresses everything together, which is an interesting sound. So here's kind of something with that. I'll turn down the tone knob. kind of noisy with both of these on, but still a cool sound. So the accountant runs into the polytune, which I have pretty late in the chain because it's nice to be able to like use it to troubleshoot if the board is not working and let's say there's like a problem with the pedal that goes before it. If I turn it on and there's no display, that means that my issue's with the pedals before it, so I don't have to worry about rewiring the entire board. I can isolate the problem quicker. But other than that, it's also nice because if I leave the dirt pedals on, or the reverberation machine especially, you heard how loud it was in the last part, but it, you know, can mute the signal, so I can leave the pedals on if there's like a quiet session or something, and then I don't have to worry about turning them back all on again. I can just unmute the tuner and then go from there. So yeah, Polytune is here, and then after that I go to the Boss DD6, which is kind of like a bonus pedal, because I feel like I'm pretty set with 9 pedals, but since I have the bigger board, there was like room for one more, and I have a hard time looking at empty space, so I just filled it with a pedal. And the DD6 is just a bunch of fun. I don't use the delay too much. I mostly use it for the reverse, hold, and warp modes, which are awesome to experiment with and just kind of like play around with. So the one I use most, I guess, would be warp. And I use it kind of like a sustain pedal to hold out a chord, so I can grab the tail of the chord and make it sustain by holding it down, and then you can add stuff on top of it, and it'll keep building and building and building until you release it. So here's something with that. That's just like a cool effect to use sometimes. And then the hold mode for like glitchy kind of stuff. I won't show you what that sounds like because it's just like a 5-second looper, I guess. And then the reverse mode I like especially because I like to put like reverse delay in the background of songs, so like as like a texture and a little bit of like a bubbly, interesting sound. So here's a quick demo. And also like blending it full wet and then using it on like a solo with a bunch of dirt and reverb and stuff sounds pretty cool. So next up I have the Earthquaker Devices C Machine, which is a new pedal for this year. It kicked off a Chase Bliss warped vinyl that I've had on my board forever, but I found I was like relying too much on the vibrato sound on that pedal, and it started to sound a little cliche to me. So my family gifted this to me, and it's really kind of like grown on me. It's like completely different from the warped vinyl, and it has like an equally unique sound, but like it's kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum in terms of voicing and stuff. It's very open, airy, and bright. So yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with it lately. My current settings look like this, and the one thing I like to do is blend in the shape control, so it kind of it goes between a triangle and a square wave. So I have it turned up just a little bit, and then the dimension control, which is kind of like a repeats knob, I have that turned up just a bit because I feel like it adds like a vibey sort of flavor to it. So here's something that I play with the C Machine. like that new wave post-punk sound. But it can sound pretty lush too. If I turn the depth down and the animate control up, it has more of like a classic chorus sound, which I like to stack a lot with like the dirt pedals and stuff because it doesn't muffle them or like, you know, flatten them like other chorus pedals tend to do. It's just like a super open sound. So let me show you what that sounds like. I have the gain turned up on the Shigeharu just for like the shoegazy muff sound. So here it is. So yeah, the C Machine has just like been a really awesome like thing to have around, and it's really, like I said, it's really grown on me. The one thing I do want to show you too is like how absolutely weird it can get. If I dial up all these controls, the dimension especially, I'll try to get it to like self-oscillate, and then I'll turn it to a square wave for like a really jumpy sound. So check this out. Sounds pretty good actually, but if I turn the depth up, you can hear how wacky it is. Yeah, so it does some cool stuff. Yeah, I've been really digging this pedal lately. So next I have the Boss Space Echo, which is one of my favorite pedals ever. Definitely my favorite delay. I don't really know why I like the sound so much, but it just sounds really pleasant to me. I like the EQ controls allow you to dial in a huge range of like sounds, like where it sits in the mix. You can dial it back like I have for like some repeats that hang in the background, or dial up the treble and get like a nice rhythmic delay, especially with the multi-head modes. But yeah, I'm using it pretty dark right now, and mostly I just stayed in mode 5, which is a regular tape style delay. Yeah, so here's what it sounds like. And then I do like it combined with other pedals because it kind of like smooths them out, and well, the preamp has like a certain voicing to it, and it kind of like makes everything a little more smooth, I think. So here's what it sounds like. I usually combine it with the chorus or the badstone a lot, but I'll show you what that sounds like. So yeah, I just love how it sounds, and it's definitely one of my favorite pedals ever. So finally, last up in the chain is the Earthquaker Devices Ghost Echo, which is also a longtime favorite. I'm not the kind of person that leaves reverb on all the time, so I like to dial it in kind of big, but not too big where it's hitting you in the face, you know. So the reason I like the Ghost Echo so much is because it's fairly dark and sits back in the mix, and it has like a really nice touch of modulation on it. It's pretty perfect. So here's something with that. So I think that's like a really beautiful sounding pedal. And then of course it combines really great with everything else. Um, I do tend to hear like a slight boosting quality to it, and it has like an additional like sound it adds, which is I really like it. So I just really love this pedal. So I guess that's the whole rundown then. Um, Now I'm gonna make a song on my loop pedal, and you can see how I combine everything, use them together, and how it all sounds. So yeah, thank you so much for watching my rig rundown, and hope you enjoy the loop.